Hey folks, Nathan here. As promised, we're going to be taking a look here at the Arcade1Up Star Wars arcade cabinet that was just released here in October of 2019. Now this is a fully functional arcade cabinet, no need for coin slots or anything. It stands, I'm about 5'5"-ish. I have shoes on at the moment, so figure it's a little over 5 feet tall total. It does include a riser that we'll take a look at. Not all the Arcade1Up cabinets do actually include a riser. Most of the time you have to buy the riser separately and attach it. This has a custom riser, so it comes with it. We'll take a look here real quick at the front, the sides, to get a sense of what they look like, and then I'll give you some over-the-shoulder gameplay so you can actually see how it plays. But this is that unit that was basically $500. Eventually, it got put out for pre-order through GameStop and through Walmart, but it can now be found through both, and I believe some other places now have it available as well. But GameStop and Walmart were the primary places initially to get this thing. Mine was pre-ordered through GameStop. All right, so here we go, top to bottom. Got our marquee. It does light up. You'll see that whenever I plug it in here in a moment. Got the Star Wars-esque stuff around the screen, which is, of course, built in. You're going to have an on-off switch and a volume button. Then you got your control yoke that's similar to the original arcade cabinet, right? These do move forward and backwards to allow you to climb and dive. Nothing else functional there. No need for a coin slot or anything, so then going down the front, you've got just the 3 games included listed. This is an included riser. Without it, you need to probably play sitting in a chair or on a stool. With the riser, you can play typically standing up. It does get attached. It's the one piece of assembling this thing where the holes are not pre-drilled when you attach the riser. But it does come with it. Got your tie and your Vader's tie, or tie Advanced X1 down there. Going up the side. Your art there. Okay. And then the other side, effectively the same. On down to the riser. And if you're curious, the back side there has a little bit there attached to it that you can use to attach it and anchor it to the wall. Power cord's going to come out of a hole in the back. And yes, the riser at the bottom has the same logo as the front, but nothing really fancy about the back or the top or anything. Now, hopefully you'll pardon me for turning the lights off here. I want to give you a chance to actually see this thing in action, and it's better seen with the lights off. So we're going to flip our on-off switch. Notice the marquee lights up. Loading. I'll try to get it to focus better as we go. Arcade1Up. Oh, focuses rather well. Now you can see the marquee, but you can barely see me, right? Bear in mind, by the way, when you put this thing together, be careful with the marquee light. It's one of the wires that gets plugged in on the inside, but I found that if you jiggle it, it can tend to turn on or off the marquee. So make sure before you close up the back and screw everything in that the marquee is lighting up. There's also an on-off switch for just the whole thing in general inside it. So make sure that that is turned on before you close it, because otherwise your on-off switch on the front's not going to do you any good. All right, so you've got your main menu here, Arcade1Up, Atari. You have your 3 different games. Each one has a gear underneath it for settings. It says aim the cursor at game or settings icon. Press either trigger to select. So you've got your crosshairs there. If I go to settings, just so you know what the settings are that are available, you can change your starting shield for the A New Hope one. You can change your difficulty. So moderate, hard, hardest, easy. Shields 6 to 9. Bonus shield 0 to 3. Music in attract mode. Attract mode's like when you just let it sit. Vector glow, you can update from standard, none, sparkle, or bright, or bold. I tend to go standard. You can reset your high scores. I don't do that because my wife and I are actually going at each other on this, trying to beat each other. And you have a save and exit, and it just says aim a trigger, or excuse me, aim at an option, then press the right trigger to increase it or left trigger to decrease it. And for the most part, that's the options you're going to get for each one. Okay, so for Empire, again, starting shield, in this case 2 to 5. Play difficulty easy, moderate, hard, hardest. Jedi letter mode, this is the one where you can gain levels, or gain Jedi letters per level as you go, but you can choose it to be letter, increment only, or increment or level only as far as like how you can earn them. Music and attract mode again, vector gloat options again, standard, none, sparkle, bright, bold, same old thing. Resetting high scores and so on. Then Return of the Jedi. It's the one that I suck at. Very different than the other. Starting lives, 3 to 6. Bonus life every. None, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. So how often do you earn bonus lives? Difficulty easy, medium, hard. No hardest. Scan lines on or off? I would recommend off because I have trouble seeing it with the scan lines on, and then about resetting high scores again. Okay, I've changed the camera angle so you can see better, so you can see the games themselves in action here. In any of these, the way that you get back to the main menu is to hold down both triggers and both thumb buttons for 5 seconds. Let's check out the original. Gives you sort of a game control breakdown when you start up each one. In this case, basically everything does the same thing, right? The triggers all basically just fire. That's it for the first one. They have you fire to continue, zoom to hyperspace, jump on in. I've got it set on the easiest possible settings for this example.
Red 5 standing by.
Start with easy. Crank up the volume. Converge on the Death Star.
Red 5, I'm going in.
Now, easy mode just goes straight into, or the easy first wave goes straight into the Death Star trench. My wife plays this by doing nothing but dodging during this part, which is kind of what I seem to be doing because I'm not hitting anything.
Luke, trust me.
First one doesn't have anything to dodge other than the fire coming at you.
Yahoo! You're all working!
And that's one wave, and then you're on the next wave. In the original game, it adds a segment.
Red 5, I'm going in.
Right, and here's your added segment. Very Atari sounds, right? Now you're in, and now you got to dodge.
I hate to stop that. I'll do what you need to do with this.
Got shot. Digitized audio from the film was kind of a big deal at the time.
Let's go.
Tough playing this at an angle.
The force is strong, but it's weak.
Third wave.
I'm on the leader. going in.
And then it increases again in terms of style. Now you have actual towers. And you can't run into them. And some of them are close enough together that there's no way to go between them. You gotta keep an eye on the red spots on the ground. Sorry, I keep bumping the iPad with my elbow. And boom!
Use the force, Luke. Luke, trust me. Yahoo! You're on Twitter, kid!
Yeah, and so on. I'll let myself die here. I'm not even gonna touch it. You do get shields back each time you finish a wave, by the way. Come on. 3, 2, 1, 0. Shield gone. Game over.
Remember, the force will be with you.
Again, hold.
The force will be with you.
It does start, but keep holding. There you go. It's basically just freeze and go back. Okay. Empire, probably my favorite of the three. Again, slight difference in that there is one phase in which you fire tow cables with the thumbsticks instead of just regular blasts.
May the force be with you. There's a meteorite hit the ground near you.
You can shoot the blasts that are coming at you, you can shoot the pro droids, and you can shoot their transmissions, which is, you know, kind of strange. Score the J for Jedi.
That is the system. I'm sure
Next phase.
Skywalker is with them. We have spotted Imperial walkers.
Got hit, but still. You have a limited number of tow cables, unfortunately, because it helps you earn the E for Jedi. But you can actually just shoot. Come on. Damn. Never did take that guy out. Gotta aim for the little red square. You can take him out by actually shooting him in the cockpit. As soon as that's done, next phase.
Prepare to make the Delta light speed.
TIE fighters.
The son of Skywalker must
There's
not
the D.
become a Jedi.
And I'll go back to the Star Destroyer.
Asteroids not concern me, Admiral.
Just don't get hit by an asteroid, that's all. Ah, balls. It's the first time I get hit by an asteroid in ages on this freaking thing. And so.
He could destroy us.
But then, in this case, the levels and their complexity don't really change much. So let's jump out of here. And holding them all down at once. So in the case of Empire, it's essentially that same sequence, just kind of cycling. Getting a little bit more complex each time, a little bit more difficult each time, but not necessarily adding much in the way of new aspects each time, the way that the original did. And then Jedi is just Jedi is the most insulting installment because our beautiful vector graphics imagery is sullied by a crappy isometric driving and shooting game that's very difficult to control with the control yoke. But whatever. I doubt I'll get very far, especially playing at an angle. But you'll see what I mean by different. A lot of folks haven't ever played the Return of the Jedi one. The other ones were the classics, really. Sure, why not?
The security deflector shield will be deactivated when we have confirmation of your code transmission.
Leave them to me. I will deal with them myself.
Go for help. I see them. Wait for me.
Wait for me! So, what would normally cause you to dive, well, I'm trying to show you here. What normally causes you to dive or pull up is actually what's going to move you forward or backwards, and your steering. And you're having to deal with these guys, trying to shoot them, while also not running into trees, which is probably the toughest part of it. But if you go through an Ewok trap, don't crash into the tree. Watch out for that tree. If you go through an Ewok trap, it'll catch them.
Yep, yep.
Ah, damn it. I am terrible at Jedi. See that? That's terrible. I am horrible at the Jedi one.
Wonderful.
And if you want to talk about tough, this is one where the stages actually are different each time. It's this, then the Falcon, then a Walker, and so on. Crazy part about this is you got to make it back out alive, or at least try to.
Here goes nothing.
Hope it's something, as my mom used to say.
Now lock onto the strongest power source. It should be the power generator.
Fortunately, they can't fly any better than I can. Ah, god dang it. It came from behind.
Go for the power regulator on the north tower.
Yeah, now you gotta go back! Shit! Yeah, so there you go. And how awesome is it to have it turn out to be that it's the original Yub Yub because it was made in 1984. That's right. So yeah, folks, there you go. The Star Wars arcade cabinet from Arcade1Up. It is the original vector graphics Atari A New Hope game, aka Star Wars. We have The Empire Strikes Back, which is an expansion upon that. Then we have Return of the Jedi, which is very, very, very different. But they're all on the machine. No coin slots. You just play. You do have this screen to be able to jump between them, but otherwise it looks and sounds like the original, just with some, added options for play. And it looks nice when it's set up because, as I've shown you, if I can step it back here, you have that light up marquee up here. There we go. You have the light up marquee up here and everything. Just looks really nice when it is set up. And the fact that it is full size as opposed to one of those smaller ones like Arcade1Up often puts out is very nice as well. I love the fact that they included the custom riser this time rather than it being something where you either had a generic riser bought separately or you had to play it sitting down. Definitely a fun one. So yeah, if you have the cash to drop, in my case I saved a bunch of summer school teaching money, but if you have the cash to drop, this is a pretty sweet unit here from Arcade1Up. Definitely glad that I picked it up, and I'm actually getting my wife to play it. She hates playing video games these days because she absolutely loathes the analog sticks on modern controllers. This doesn't use a modern controller, so she jumped right in and is now trying to best my high score as much as possible. She's partial to Star Wars, I'm partial to Empire Strikes Back. Neither of us is particularly partial to Return of the Jedi, but we're trying to get better on it. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps you make a decision if you're looking into this or if you were just curious about it. And yeah, be sure to check out other stuff here on the channel.